Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to the show before the show. Uh, does it give us a hairband? Guys, if you're new to the show, I don't know if anybody's new right now, but is this still the indie?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have somebody new every day.
We're a show. We're a show with without an identity right now in the music.
And music identity. We have an identity, but we haven't boiled down to our music. There's so many choices.
Well, and then they evolve. Like once you play a station, it changes.
What the hell is this?
It's still indie, yeah.
This sounds like a guy with really long hair in the elevator.
We warm up. We get things rolling in the show before the show. That's what's going on here. I was talking to somebody about having it on the show, and she's like, "Well, I'm not into politics." I was like, "No, we do more than politics. We do a lot.
We do a lot."
She's like, "I'm not big P politics."
Right. Well, and that's most people. That is literally most people.
But she'll be a terrific guest when we have her on.
That would be great.
Yeah. Okay. Does that offer hair metal bands?
I don't think that was a choice, was it?
No, it's pretty. I mean, there's quite a few categories, but there's definitely no hair metal.
Well, that stinks.
Right. We went hair metal.
I think corporate's perfect for Vic because as soon as it starts going, he starts doing like some sort of like read.
Okay, we'll put corporate on then, because I don't think he's digging this one. This sounds like Sesame Street and Peppa Pig. Miss Rachel.
It's very upbeat.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like Ernie and Bert are going to come out of their bedroom and talk to Big Bird. That's what it sounds like.
Sounds like a Citibank.
As soon as you said come out of their bedroom, I look at you, I'm like, oh no, it's early.
Yeah, that was double-edged why I said that. It was double-edged. But this is the music they'd play.
It sounds like a Citibank commercial.
You know it really does, doesn't it? Karen says, as long as the music doesn't sound like a ticking clock. This one's growing on me. I didn't think I was going to like it at first, but it's kind of growing on me.
I don't like this music.
Okay, switch it. Because it's not my fave either.
The music today has not been good.
No, so find us something else.
Mother trucker. We got to find something else.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm feeling it. This.
Yeah, I like this.
But once again, I could like it. Somebody else can hate it because it's freaking music.
That's right. It's the one thing that you can really be divided on.
The last one was just like.
Mm-hmm. It's like the Teletubbies.
That's nasty.
Was the Teletubbies.
Yeah, you do know the Teletubbies were evil, right?
Yeah, I sure do.
Satanic, and people don't like to hear about that.
But it's true. Teletubbies were weird.
So are the what was the there's a new movie coming out and they're cute as can be, but they were based upon what are they called?
Minions?
Yeah, what are
I don't know.
What are those
little yellow
looking
things?
Yes.
Yeah.
Based on the Holocaust, and I'm not kidding. It's sad, and
there's so much programming for children right now that has a terrible subliminal message.
There you go, Joe.
This one's good, Joe.
Oh my God,
Joe, come on in here and start dancing.
No, it's Lizzie. Don't make him do that.
Yeah, I can't make Joe do anything. I mean, he's a kind person, but you can't make Joe do anything Joe's not going to do.
I promise we'll get some other music when we get back in. I mean, we'll.
This is not bad.
We'll get some new stuff.
Yeah. Get some Ozzy Osbourne. Mm-hmm. That'll wake us up.
Only we can get him to sign over the copyright.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show before the show. For those of you who don't know, we just kind of lead in to around 8 o'clock, making sure technicals all squared away, things that are going on. I've been told not to dance on air.
Yeah, but that's why you should do it.
At one point I had some dancing rhythm, but I don't anymore.
I never really had any rhythm, but I still like dancing.
I saw you trying to dance the other day.
Yeah, I would.
You look like me trying.
For sure.
We would go great together.
We would. We so would. I look like the SNL skit. No rhythm here, but I don't care and I'll dance anyway.
Sounds like an old Casio keyboard. It does.
It does.
Yeah, this is why it's free, people.
That's right. That's right. We're only doing the free music right now, and it definitely sounds like an
Support the show.
So we can get some better music, for crying out loud.
$8 a month for a song.
That's not really as bad. I mean, that's not that bad. Because if you play any of the other music, you can play any music that you want to, but only up to 11 seconds. You play that 12th second, boy, some of these platforms will shut you down due to copyright.
Yeah, maybe we should just get a song like that. We'll have a dancing person in a silhouette.
There you go.
You know,
Love
the
it.
Silhouette dancing.
Like it.
I know somebody who we could hire who's like the best dancer I've ever seen.
Can you say who it is?
We'll keep that a secret right now.
I thought maybe the way you were talking.
And no, I'm not talking about dancing on the east side. I don't want to. I'll stop your comments before they come in.
Dancing on the east side. Dancing on the east side.
Yeah, we could put that silhouette video up on the screen behind you too.
Mm-hmm. That would be nice.
But you want to play around right now?
You want to play around right now?
You can play around with the backdrop today if you want. If you want to do that. Joe is learning and he's figuring out all the technical things. We got an amazing studio, as you know, and we continue
There's
to
so
try to
much
learn
you can
about
do with it. He can change your color behind you, and Joe would be really nice if he put something behind his head that he doesn't even know, and he would just be shocked if he saw it.
Yeah, this music.
So I'm going to be more prepared.
Either.
I'm going to be more prepared tomorrow.
Yeah, be prepared to do something.
Or maybe we'll wait till Friday. That way,
Let's do a Friday.
Under the free-for-all blanket.
I love it. Friday's a good day.
Pew 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 pew. Yeah, this is annoying too, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, going to future pop.
We just need to. Yeah, we need to just bite the bullet and buy the rights to real music.
Yeah,
this sounds like when I was in China. They're like it doesn't sound like
K-pop.
Chinese pop.
It's
Okay,
K-pop,
it is K-pop. Yeah. Okay, I didn't hear that.
But it says future pop, but I mean that's the
K-pop.
same thing.
Yeah.
What does K-pop mean then?
It's Korean music, which is still Asian music, and it still has that theme to it. It's not bad. It's just not my fave.
It might be the best we've played this morning, which isn't saying much. I haven't heard anything that's better than this. Not that this is great.
True.
We could try R&B or hip hop.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Lizzie, when we talk, I haven't heard about this. This will be something we'll talk about. Allegedly dead people voter registration, Missouri.
That's the rumor.
Tim
that's
Pool was
out
talking
there
about
now.
his podcast last night. I don't know.
Yeah, there's some rumor about that right now, but they can't find proof of it. I'm not saying it isn't true. There's a lot of stuff going on.
This is the show before the show. CancelTheShow.com. Big Fast Lizzie Sparks, Pro Joe. We're getting ready to start. We got so much to get into today. And it's 2 straight hours, the fastest 2 hours of podcasting with both Lizzie and I and Joe. We got a lot to do. Joe, just a reminder, when you talk, you must put your camera on. Those are the rules of the show. I'm warning you in advance because it's like you remind me of my my children when they were like 13, 11, and 8. I kept having to remind them over and over and over again.
It's just I've been doing this for so long, like for a year like this, and I haven't been putting myself in. So it takes some getting used to. I have my camera on every day. I just keep forgetting to put myself in. Like I could have done right then.
Yeah, you could have done it. People want to see your face.
Hey guys, by the way, like, subscribe, share our show. When we say subscribe, you can be a subscriber. You go to canceltheshow.com. We continue to get those people in all the time. Then you connect with us and we put our newsletters out. We let you know we're going to be doing more of that coming up. Let you know of everything that's going on. More and more shows continue to join, and we are grateful for that. Oh my God. We have to go back to Megan in just a little bit. Megan just said, hey guys, by the way, I had 2 clients that proudly and unapologetically told me that they turned their deceased husband's ballot in for Biden in the last election. I couldn't believe they actually told me. It's going on.
It is going on.
But yeah, the squad. Gosh, hey guys, oh my God, we're getting ready to start the show. You guys are popping us with so many damn good topics and stories
already.
As you do. We'll go ahead and get the show started. Let's get it on. And welcome to cancelthisshow.com. Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks, Projo in the house as always. Guys, welcome into your happy hump day, April 3rd. We're ready to rock and roll as we always do. We've got 2 hours, the fastest 2 hours in podcasting come up. There's so many dang topics. We're going to rock and roll through this today. As you know, there's a reason people listen all the time, and they do. And you stay with us for the majority of the show. We've talked about it before. I think we have like a 75%, 80% where people listen to the entire show. Or at least 75% of the show. 75% listen to at least 75% or more of the show. So we're grateful for that. It is canceltheshow.com here Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, and all the time on our website. Canceltheshow.com. Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks, Projo in the house. Check out our website as well. Canceltheshow.com. Our library of all of the shows. What are we on right now?
345.
Damn, we've done 345 2-hour shows. Lots of content. Lots of time. We know what we're doing. A little bit because of you guys. We appreciate you liking, subscribing, sharing the shows, checking out all of our platforms. X has really popped up #1 for us right now. Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, those are the viewing platforms. Clout Hub as well. And then, of course, all of your normal audio channels where we go as well. You can share those shows. We appreciate it. When you check out our website, you can donate. Let us know also about possible sponsors for the show, people that we can connect with, not only locally, but across the country when it comes to national products. And, of course, the people that support us are people that you should look at as well because they appreciate the freedom of speech message. And, of course, they want great products as well. Okay, coming up today, it was a big day for Donald Trump yesterday. Several sound bites with him about major issues. His campaign is dominating when it comes to raising money. And by the way, money doesn't equate to ratings. Let me repeat that. Money does not equate to ratings. It does not equate to polls. If it did, Joe Biden would be beaten Donald Trump, but he's not. He's getting beat everywhere. Actually, probably by a whole lot more than what mainstream media will tell you about with that. Also, Trump explains what's happening, and just wait until you hear when it comes to a judge putting a gag order on him in the hush money case regarding Stormy Daniels. We're going to tell you about the judge's daughter. And if you didn't know now, and I'm not trying to piss off all the Swifties, but we do. Most of us knew already where Taylor Swift is from a political standpoint. We were hoping that she would keep quiet. And she hasn't said anything publicly, but now there is definite evidence, her link to this judge's daughter about registering Democrats. So, hey, it is what it is. I like to like people and not worry about their political values if it's from an entertainment standpoint. But when those entertainers make it known who they're supporting and what they're doing, I'm just telling you, it'll play on you. Sometimes it does.
Mm-hmm.
it sucks because Blink-182 and American Airways, those bands I liked,
I know.
yeah, they're raging liberals.
Yeah, they are.
Well, it's not their fault. It's where they were born in Southern California.
Yeah. That has a
I
lot
try to
do
make
with it.
excuses for them.
So you can listen to them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Kind of like you make excuses for eating one of the worst foods that you can eat.
I do. I make every excuse in the book for eating
For Chick-fil-A.
I do. I just love it. And I just don't want to know the bad stuff because I'm going to eat it anyway.
You're human. You're human.
Yeah.
You were born to air just like I was.
I air a lot.
And that's what Cancel the Show is all about. Like, subscribe, share the show. We got that coming up. A very interesting thing when it comes to CVID. Tucker Carlson had Brett Weinstein on, and he says the elites have undervalued the power of the American people to overtake them when it comes to all their messaging. This is what Cancel This is all about too. We continue to do that. A story about Venezuela and Venezuelans in America, which will just blow your mind. It's what we've been warning you about for over a year, and now it's coming. Lizzie's going to break down what happened with local school board situations in Missouri. And it was not a good day for conservatives, or at least let me say far right
Correct
candidates, and explain why. Unregistered voters coming into this country and being signed up at a historic rate. This will piss you off. At least it should. P. Diddy video we've got where his kids were used. I guess his kids were subjected to military style raids. I mean, it's bizarre, some of the stuff that's going on with all of that. Let's see here. New Wall Street Journal polling. And we'll tell you what the U.S. military started doing when it comes to recalling individuals. What the hell is going on? We always try to be ahead. We're not trying to be conspiratorial. We only do that on Fridays. Well, we try to. Anyway, we want you to join the live podcast as well. Let us know if we're missing anything. You guys are already rocking and rolling early this morning before we had a chance to even start the show with topics. If you brought something up earlier in the show that we did not mention, please do it again so that we can get to that. Peter says, by the way, healthy food takes time to make, Lizzie.
I know.
Don't poison yourself with Chick-fil-A.
I know. I do poison myself with Chick-fil-A.
P. Diddy is only a distraction. I have been saying this. Lizzie's been saying this. Projo has been saying this. So we've got all these things going on. No, Joe, it is Lizzie and I all day today. No guest. It is us rocking and rolling, which you guys like.
I got so much to say.
Because there's so much going on today. My God, here we go with all of it. I'm trying to, as we get people in the show, can we just focus in really quick, local, just real quick, from the election standpoint with what happened in the state of Missouri? Because Tim Pool does a national podcast. They were alleging that younger people and newer people deceased people were being registered and used as voters in the state of Missouri in these school board elections. Now, if you lose, you lose. You can't make excuses. But if there's evidence of it, then it's certainly going to make you think. But at the same point in time, there could be a reason why and not a ton of people voted, but there could be a reason why the far right candidates did not win in school board elections.
Right. They didn't win. The obvious reasons is people didn't get out and vote. That's number one. There was only in all of St. Louis County and St. Charles County, like 16, 17%. So the turnout, it was low. And so, it's done by design to have it in April by the NEA, because then teachers will go out and vote, and often teachers will be behind the NEA.
And by the way, the NEA is not your friend for your kids, and there's tons of proof.
That is very true. And so a lot of conservatives want the NEA not to be a candidate. But here's the problem. The last time they were voting, there were some conservatives that got in. And that perceived as a very good thing. Well, what happened is then the conservatives underestimated the volume of the teachers union to come back out swinging the next time. And so it was very underplayed. There's something else that people do not understand. You have to put up candidates with some name recognition and is involved somewhere else outside of the echo chamber of the conservative party. And that didn't happen. Like, for example, Joe, you can start putting up some of them. And I'm going to briefly just go over this as to why so this one right here is the St. Charles School District. All right.
Do only the top two make it?
Yes, in most cases. the top one in this particular one in St. Charles City is a pastor's wife. She's actually a wonderful person, and they run something called We Love St. Charles. So everybody knows the Sigmas. Everybody knows. So the conservative didn't have any chance in that race. Heidi is not necessarily, though.
What is she, Republican or Democrat?
She's Republican.
But she won.
Correct, but she's not. But she's still an NEA candidate. And
What?
Yeah.
How is she an NEA candidate?
The NEA backed her.
Why?
Because they feel she's the best candidate. And in all honesty, she is. And a lot of people that are conservative are going to come after me right now.
So the NEA is backed a conservative to win.
Correct.
So then you can't rip the NEA then.
Well, in that case, you can. And people won't come out and say that. Heidi is a pastor's wife. She's not political. But when you hear her, I've gone to her church a couple times with my kids. When you hear them, there's no doubt in your mind they don't follow scripture. And if you follow scripture, you're conservative. And so in that case, no one else was going to win but her. So that's the case. Okay, go to the next one.
But she only got 3,300 votes.
Well, that's because nobody voted.
This is total just
it is
nonsense.
It is nonsense because nobody got out and vote. But I'm going to tell you why the conservatives.
But were there other candidates that were better than her there? Because you said no. Okay,
no.
So that's St. Charles. Okay, gotcha.
No. There was not a better candidate. Okay, so then this one is
Wentzville. What's the breakdown?
The breakdown in Wentzville here. This is the big story here is in the Wentzville School District. Those two Wentzville conservative candidates are not bad people at all. They're great. And the other two are fine. There is nobody in that. This could have been anyone's game because nobody stuck out. But here's the problem that's going on in Western St. Charles County. This is where I call it the far, far right crazies. They have ruined the conservative talk, so to speak, in that area because the last candidates that got in, they were fine, but it's the people that surround them are I'm just going to say this, they're kind of nasty. And what I mean by nasty is they do not fight the Democrats. They fight conservatives. So the people that surround those two candidates, they go to Jeff City once or twice a month at least, and they're beating the doors down at good conservatives. They're there knocking on their doors. And if they don't agree with something, and they're not really going after the adversaries, they're going after the good legislators. So what happened, and I you'll see it all over social media. They're already attacking, not these candidates, but the people surrounding that candidates are already attacking that it's the fault of the state reps and the senators. But is
this a big deal or is this small potatoes?
This is actually a big deal. The reason why this is a big deal, if we do not get our act together and stop listening to the far right crazies, and a lot of people go, what do you mean by that? What is a far right crazy? I am conservative. I would be considered a far right conservative. That being said, I understand the insight and the end game on how to legislate. The people that are being put up, they don't even understand how to legislate. So when there's a legislator that does something they don't like, instead of just maybe sending them an email, they are up there 100 to 200 people banging their drums just like the BLM people. So now what's happened, if you talk to a regular human being that's not political at a volleyball game or out at the mall, they are now seeing the Republican Party is absolute crazies in the local area. And that's not the case. The conservatives are great, but there's a small little group of 100 or 200 people. That is why literally in Wentzville, they lost and no one else is talking about that.
Wait, so did far right candidates lose?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So this is good or bad?
Well, it's a combo. It's not good.
Okay.
It's not good. But you know what? In the Wentzville School District, you couldn't win either place. You either have the NEA or those two women were fine. But who comes with them is this echo chamber of crazy nonsense.
What about Frances Howell?
Frances Howell was a different animal. Sam and Adriana are wonderful candidates. They really are, but they didn't have enough people behind them to push that situation because those are great people. But you've got that is the union pushing really hard in that school district, but they still lump people because you see signs for the Wentzville people right next to the Frances Howell people. And I think they got lumped into there. So people didn't go vote. I know a lot of conservatives that went and voted and just didn't vote for the school board candidate because they didn't want anyone to
This is a
have
story
this-
of people not voting.
It is the
Isn't
people
it?
not voting
Because these numbers are
they're not
so
high.
damn low.
They're
which
not
shows that
high. They're
people in the
really
school
low.
districts do not care.
They don't care. They don't care. And who's in there now? It represents, there was so much vitriol last night after the loss of the conservative candidates attacking other conservatives. And that's my
Well,
point to this
I'm
whole
convinced
story.
that when you have an all red state, then you start to eat each other.
And that's what's happening in Missouri. We're eating our own here.
And I have seen that with what we do so many times as we have opened up and what we do with our platform. And once again, I just want to remind everybody, and it's not boasting or bragging, we have the #1 news talk show from a download standpoint, interaction throughout the St. Louis metropolitan area. It's #1. And guess what? We invite other conservatives and stations and everybody to partner with us, and people turn us down. They're afraid of us. And we're like, listen, and I'm not trying to be weird. It's just like, why don't we promote together? You're stronger in numbers.
I agree.
Have the confidence and deal with what you have in your own backyard, and then go out and push the message forward.
But they can't do that, Vic.
And I see that happening in broadcasting, and then I see it happening in politics.
Yes.
Oh no, we can't do this. Oh no, that's again. Why not?
Well,
where's the progressive thinking?
There is no progressive thinking, because you just used the word progressive, and people would
progressive in a positive way.
But okay, but did you hear what you just said?
But it's not a political.
I get that. You get that. But there is so many Republicans. The minute you mention progressive, you're now a rhino, and that is what's going on. You're not a rhino, but at all. but that's what people say.
I'm a rhino standing next to certain people.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Robert brings up a good, and I appreciate you breaking down what was happening with the candidates, Lizzie. You do a great job with that, and you're connected from that standpoint. Robert brings up a good point as well. Does it really matter who the school boards are voting in because of the power of the unions right now?
Maybe not.
I mean, and I don't know. I'm wondering. We had one of those we had a couple different school board candidates. I'd like to know if Chris Miller won.
Chris Miller did not win.
Okay.
No. None of them. In St. Louis County and St. Charles County and all the surrounding areas, not one conservative candidate won. Not one. Not one.
But I thought you just said some of those people you showed were conservative.
Well, it depends on how you look at it. When they call themselves conservatives, Heidi doesn't call herself anything. She just calls herself an advocate for St. Charles School District.
But they all looked very close.
They did. They were all very
tight,
close.
tight.
Mm-hmm. They were.
School boards do help set the curriculum, so they are important, coming from Paul.
Correct. And like Bob is saying, teachers voted.
They have to.
Teachers voted.
They get out the vote. There you go.
And teachers want the NEA or involved. And here's another part of the problem. Like, I'm going back to Heidi again. She's very involved in the school. Some of the candidates that they put up are not involved in the school. I mean, I may be wrong on this, but there's a current school board member in the Wentzville School District that she pulled her kids out and now have them in a private school, and she's still on the board. People look at that as you're irrelevant now. So, and like we said, the turnout was very, very, very low, and the NEA knows that, and they put across this time a better game plan than the conservatives did. The conservatives didn't have enough people backing them because locally, all the conservatives are fighting.
Yeah, they fight each other. That's why you need to be one unified group. And then when you're not unified, then it becomes a money issue too. Then you're going against each other. Also, another point from the chat line: how many empty nesters and singles actually vote in school elections? Probably none, 0. But that's what we try to teach people about as well. This does matter. It does. If you don't like certain things that are being taught to youth, or your friends' kids or whatever, then you know what? Then you don't care. Then you see what happens. This is why all voting, yes, it is impossible. Yes, it is super, super, super important. Brenda says yes. The NEA teachers, guess what? They came and knocked on my door.
Yeah, they did. And that's it. You didn't see the conservative candidates knocking on doors. You saw a lot of signs, but you have to get out there. And this is not just a local story. It's a national story about
Correct. It's a state story about voting.
Well, and I just got a text, and I will not give the name out, but it is one of our listeners that just said what is happening is the conservatives right now appear unhinged. So they no, really. So they lost. So instead of saying, okay, how can we do this better the next time? They're going straight to, election, fraud, or why is it taking so long, or somebody cheated, or all of that. You know what? That sounds great. It really does. It would be great if it was just simple as cheating, but that's not it. They're not looking at the bigger
But the media
picture.
will also promote against a conservative value.
100%. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch
already
said that.
did with their headline.
Yes.
What was the headline? Far right?
Yeah, basically that the far right candidates all lost. So that means that they're admitting, they didn't say it, but that means that they're admitting all left-wing candidates are the ones that won.
And if you don't like it, let it be a wake-up call for November, because those things happen. I'm sorry, at the local level, when the votes are this small, I'm not buying into cheating.
I'm not buying into cheating this time either.
Let's not even go there.
No. And when you do, that's what happens, Vic, is you're looking unhinged. The people who lost, instead of saying, I need to do better the next time, I need to have a better end game, I need to disengage from the crazies, the far right crazies who make you look so bad. And they only go as an echo chamber. The far right crazies just go in the same little echo chamber. They're not getting out to people that don't already have their vote, because you know what? They look down their noses at them as they're just Biden people.
Well,
and that's not the case.
Well, Missouri's a weird place like that. I mean, I don't know if this is happening in other parts of the country, and we do have a national show as well, or at least people that listen from all over the country. Not sure if it happens where you guys are as well. But once again, let it be a lesson. If you don't like, we talk about going out and voting, talking about caring. If you don't like it, let it be a lesson for November. These things are actually happening in the communities. And guess what? I know a lot of teachers. I love them. We promote them on this show. Lizzie's a former teacher as well. But I also know a couple teachers, and I'm going to say it, they were brainwashed by their unions.
Oh, for sure.
I knew them as young 20-year-olds. And 20 years later, oh, well, we got to vote. We're about the union. They care about us. Well, it's not the same union it was even 20 years ago.
Correct.
So let's be real about that.
That's right. That's right. And you have to put forth candidates that are really involved. Even in Fort Zumwalt, there was
these are St. Louis metropolitan areas, or parts of the St. Louis metropolitan.
The two that won, everybody knows them. Everybody knows them. And so you can't put forth candidates that are fighting amongst their own, and we don't even know who you are.
Yeah, but that's crazy for politics, because I told you, I had a group from Illinois with money wanting me to run for a state office in Missouri.
Because everybody knows you.
Because of name recognition.
100%.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? Well, it's like, yeah, it's like your skeletons are out of the closet. It's like everybody knows you. And I'm like,
yeah,
but that's all it takes. And the reason I bring that up is from the standpoint of just name recognition.
Correct.
That's all it's gotten down to with politics now. Are you kidding me?
Well, it does, because people
somebody who can
rotate
name. And your name recognition.
That's right. That's right. That is God very true.
Us.
And if we take anything away from this, anything, is conservatives, you have got to stop bashing each other and get on the same page.
Yeah, that's the message.
That's the whole point I'm trying to make here, because we will never win. And whatever state you're in, you're going to start turning purple and you're going to go blue, because you're going to hand it to your adversaries. So you better wake the hell up. And you won't hear this hardly on any other station. They're still looking for some different cause, like, oh, lower turnout, or, oh, election fraud. No, the conservatives lost because the conservatives didn't do what was right.
Yep. Suck it up.
Period.
Buttercup, get better.
Period.
That's what we need to do from that standpoint. This is cancelthisshow.com. Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks, Projo in the house as well. The fastest 2 hours in podcasting here till 10 a.m. Central. Love it when you guys jump in on the podcasting line as well. The live cast is what we do from that standpoint. You can check out our website, cancelthisshow.com as well. We've got merchandise there. We have a donate button if you like our free speech as well. We love what we do, and we want to continue to do it. Okay, when it comes to the voting, when it comes to polling, all those sorts of situations, the Wall Street Journal just came out with a brand new poll as well. 6 swing states, guess what? Donald Trump leading in 5 of them, and he's tied in the other one. And that's according to the Wall Street Journal, and I guarantee it's even higher than that. So with that being done, can't wait to see where we're going. But Donald Trump is, and those leads are getting bigger and bigger. And the good news from that standpoint continues as well, because in March, and once again, I already said money does not equate to winning an election, but the Democrats and their public media companies that they own have, oh, Donald Trump can't raise the money that Joe Biden does. He raised over $65 million in the month of March, now has over $93 million to use. This is big. It's huge. It just shows who's coming on. It shows the amount of support from the financial standpoint now matching what you have from a national standpoint when it comes to the polling. The Trump train is getting bigger. It's getting stronger. It's coming faster. And that's why you see the story that we broke down yesterday, all kinds of attempts. And if we can't keep him from the White House, then we're going to try to take away Congress from him. And if it means bartering with, if it means paying off candidates to leave their positions at the worst times possible so that the Republicans don't have a majority in the House or the Senate after the November election, we'll do that, because we cannot let him change. We cannot let him try to make America what it was 3 years ago again. We already have tried to destroy this country and make it the way we want it to look right now. And of course, we all know, the majority of Americans know that life is not better now. This country is not better than it was when Joe Biden took office. But the polling, after everything this man has been through, everything the elite left, everything the deep state has thrown at this man when it comes to these fake trials, when it comes to these allegations, when it comes to trumping up charges that don't mean anything, shouldn't even be close to what they are making them be in liberal courts with liberal judges and liberal prosecutors, he is still leading. And his lead is getting bigger. And now the money is coming in as well. And people are still, I repeat, still lining up to see him. He had a big day, and I mean a massive day in Michigan yesterday. He was in Grand Rapids, and check out this video. Do you see this happening for the dead Joe Biden? No, you don't see the dead Joe Biden anywhere, but you see Donald Trump, and you see people that are going there. Now, we don't have this video, but I'm telling you, what you have is lines of people lining up in Grand Rapids, literally like a mile long, to get in to see, in freezing cold temperatures, to see Donald Trump. And he had a big day speaking as well. One of the big things that he talked about again yesterday was sealing up that border when he becomes president again. Listen to the Trumpster talking about sealing up that border and the excitement, the enthusiasm that is there, not stumbling and mumbling all over himself, but talking about real issues in America.
On day one, I will seal the border and will begin the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. And if other countries say they won't take them back, we're not going to take them back. I will say that, yeah, here they come. You're just going to hold on to your britches, because here they come. They're coming back. On day one, I will.
Listen to what he's saying. They're coming back.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming back. You're going to take them, because the president of Mexico, because they get this, they already realize this. And as I said, you have to break down stories. Too much of America has been surface. We don't dive deep into subjects with anything. It's all surface. The true education is when you dive down into a story. The Mexican president, for the first time in history, since we actually became a country, putting demands on the president of the United States, telling Joe Biden, if you don't give me my 20 million or take what I want, he's like, we're gonna make demands on you. You know, we want our money. We want this. We want that. You're not going to bring our people back here. And Joe Biden just sits there like, oh, yeah, okay, whatever. Trump's calling them out. This is all about the president of Mexico. Yeah, we're not going to take him back. The hell you are. Wait and you see what happens. Hell, he would drop people with parachutes out of helicopters if he had to. He would roll tanks into Mexico and take care of this country. I do believe it. He'll do whatever it takes. It's not just a campaign slogan, because everything he said he would do when he was president, he did. And people are like, oh, shit, we got a president that's actually doing what he said. And Democrats are like, damn, how are we going to get this guy out? What are we going to do? And that's where all that happens. So you got that going on right now. That's not it, though, because we already see, and more people are being killed by illegals. Yesterday, Steve Ducey, or Ducey even asked, not Steve, who's his son again? Peter Ducey.
Peter Ducey. Mm-hmm.
Or the Ducey.
The Ducey.
Even asked the White House, like, we had another illegal killed by a Venezuelan. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, let's just let the local authorities do their, it's like bullshit. And then they tried to say, well, Biden's against, he knows we need to beef up the border. Really? And then guess what they went to? Well, it's up to Speaker Johnson to put a bill out. No, they tried. Okay. And you wanted to include it with Ukraine money, with Middle East money, with money for Taiwan. so that you get what you want. All the extra stuff that gets put in. You can't just do a single only bill because you know that's bullshit. Total bullshit when you do that. So they're not even acknowledging everything that's going on. But more and more innocent Americans are being killed by illegals, specifically Venezuelans. And once again, another topic, not to say that we told you so, but we've been telling you for about 6 months to a year, look what's going to happen in Venezuela. There's a reason. And one of the things Trump talked about yesterday at his press conference, crime in Venezuela is down 67% in the last year. Why the hell do you think that is? Guess where they all went? When you hear about criminals being released out of the country, it was on purpose.
Yeah. And we say often it is their mental institutions.
The national media will not cover it. And then if you bring it up, oh, you're a conspiracy theory. No, Donald Trump is saying all of these things. 67% crime down in Venezuela as the country has no more money left because they all came here. Here's Donald Trump talking about the Venezuela situation as well.
Under Biden, the bad ones are coming in at a level that nobody ever thought was even possible. Nobody thought this was possible. In Venezuela, the crime is down 67% from what it was a year and a half ago, because they're taking all of their gangs and all of their criminals and they're depositing them into the United States of America. Venezuela, think of it, their crime. Wouldn't we love to have a statistic where crime is down 67%? Ours is only going in one direction, and it's under Biden.
How does that make you feel?
It's so scary when you think about that ours is going up, 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 and other places it's going down, 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 because we know it's the truth. We know they opened up their prisons and their mental institutions, and then they're coming here. It's all done on purpose, and then they don't get prosecuted here, and they don't get sent back. And, one of the funniest comments I've heard for a while is put all these, law-breaking illegals on a Boeing and send them back where they came from.
Oh, man. It's not stopping. It's getting worse. The only hope we have is Donald Trump talking about November 5th. And of course, we all know what happened over the weekend. National Transgender Visibility Day on Easter. And then, of course, there was a huge backlash for the president and his administration. So then they came out and tried to lie and say, well, March is actually Transgender Month. So technically it was still March. So Easter fell in March. So technically that's what he meant. No, it's not. They know exactly what they're doing. So Donald Trump has an idea.
I like his
idea. We're going to win the White House, and we are going to save our country. We're going to save our country. And what the hell was Biden thinking when he declared Easter Sunday to be Trans Visibility Day? Such total disrespect to Christians, and November 5th is going to be called something else. You know it's going to be called? Christian Visibility Day, when Christians turn out in numbers that nobody has ever seen before. Let's call it Christian Visibility Day, all right? I've just come from Grand Rapids, Michigan, where I was proud to receive the endorsement of the police. I'm going to win.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I do too.
I'm sorry. Whether you like the Garen, I could just listen to him talk.
I could all day long. All day long.
Christian Visibility Day, November 5th.
I love that.
That's exactly what it should be after the crap that was forced down our throats over the weekend with the Biden administration when it comes to, forget about Easter. Yeah. This is now for transgenders.
Oh, I love him so much.
And if you know us, we don't rip transgenders. We are against people trying to take kids and give money for surgeries. If you're over 18 and you want to go do whatever you want to do with yourself, do it. But don't come and try to mess with our kids. And don't try to take away Easter with your transgenderism as well. That's a fact. So I just want to make sure, because I know we have lots of new listeners coming in all the time. We keep it real here. And that's what Cancel This is about. I mean, Liz even had to go off on the far right this morning for getting too crazy in the state of Missouri. We're gonna try to we try to keep the checks and balances, and that's why we love it when you guys join the live cast as well. November 5th is our anniversary. We will surely be celebrating, according to Linda on the chat line as well. The live cast, we are appreciative of that, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central. Most people take us in after the show is live, but we love it when you guys are here live to help entertain and educate us as well as we do with you guys. Robert says Castro did the same. He emptied the prisons and sent them to Florida when they had their issues there. I'd never heard that. I'm a historical guy, or love it. Megan says it'll be interesting to see how many illegals have babies before November 5th, hoping for asylum due to the children being U.S. citizens, because that's what's happening. As we saw with the TikToker from Venezuela, that's what they're trying to do. You come in, oh, you're legal now all of a sudden. But we have another issue when we talk about voting. And Joe, when you get a chance, you can bring up this graphic. Somewhere between 8 to 10 million illegals have come in just in the time that Joe Biden has been here. Now, we can debate all show long about why they are being brought in. I think we all know it's for a voting base. It's for a damn voting base. It's the only thing. Why else would you break your country from a financial standpoint and a security standpoint outside of the fact that polling is showing that you're losing the young vote, you're losing the black vote, and you're losing the legal Hispanic vote? I said legal. So with that being said, now we're learning more. How about this? This pisses me off. This gets my blood boiling. And when you break these numbers down, it should concern everybody. And this is what I love about this show, because we speak truth and we bring numbers to you, real numbers. Okay, here you go. More than 2 million voter registrations have already been completed without voter ID. Once again, 2 million. Remember, we showed you the sound, the interview with Barack Obama, who said, it doesn't matter if you're illegal or not. You demand to vote, you go in and register. Mm-hmm. He's like, it will work. We showed you the sound with Barack Obama saying that. 2 million voter registrations have been completed without any voter ID. This in the past 3 months, 3 months in crucial states for the 2024 election. If I don't have your attention now, I hope that I do. Please like, subscribe, share the show. Let people know what the hell's going on. Save this on the tape. Look at the time. You can send it because it needs to be put out there. The states are Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Texas. So when you break it down, here are the numbers. In Texas, since the start of 2024, you've got 1,257,710 illegals registering without voter ID. These are people registering without any voter ID. What do you think's going to... I'm sorry, this is why I always say it's like, I'm not hopeful about Donald Trump winning an election because I don't trust the system because of illegals coming in and being signed up and saying you're allowed to win. I hope that I'm wrong.
I hope that you're wrong too. I hope that you're wrong.
In Pennsylvania, you're talking about 580,513 signed up without any voter ID. Once again, think about all the things that you have to have voter ID for in this country. You can't do things without a license, without proving who you are, with so many issues in this country.
These are the people voting for your school boards.
Yeah. And it's going to get worse from here on out. And that's what we've got to get our ish together on the Republican side.
Yeah, sarcastically from the chat line. But Vic, it's racist to ask for an ID. And that's why I appreciate the African-American community that does watch our show, saying it pisses them off that Democrats try to make them sound like they're not smart enough to know what an ID is, or they can get an ID. Arizona, 220,731. Once again, over 2 million people here signed up to vote now in those 3 states. And by the way, Pennsylvania and Arizona are swing states. They're technically swing states, in my humble opinion, with what we have seen. That's a lot of votes. And you look back to the 2020 or the 2020 election and how close states were. Those are just 3 states where people without any voter ID, and typically you would think of Texas and Arizona being, more conservative states. I'm sad, but at the same, and I'm frustrated when I see this, but I'm not surprised because we have been breaking this down and talking about this happening. The left and the liberal media will not do these stories. They will not have this. This is why there's no sense in watching news. There just isn't.
No.
Because you're not getting this kind of broken down information if you want to care. Because eventually it's coming to a neighborhood near you. It's coming to a street near you. and it's coming to your house. And that's not trying to scare you, but it will in a variety of ways.
That's right.
Texas is on the verge of going purple from the chat line. We have heard that for many years. Interesting from the chat line. I'm voting for school board members and a sewer rate increase, whether I vote yes or no. But the joyless election judge had her hand out for my ID. Interesting. Asking for your ID. Of course, I didn't mind at all. But how quickly do they change their tune if they think it's an illegal immigrant trying to vote?
That's a really good point.
Because you don't want to have a local news story doing some sort of story on you.
That's right. And so you know that that's happening because they can push back. If you're a minority and have darker color skin and you'd be like, I just forgot it, or you're racist or whatever. Most people, I mean, they're volunteers. They're just going to let you go. They're going to let you just go in there and vote. And that's the scary thing, because what you said that was like, just sent the hair on the back of my neck was, it's not just coming to a voting situation. It's coming to your house. It's going to affect your household. And if it hasn't already, very, very soon.
Well, here's what's happening. The illegals are being allowed to register with a social security number with 4 digits. Illegals are not able to get licenses there, but they can get social security cards for work authorization.
Yes,
permits.
they can. And they can use
This
that.
is the gray area, which we break down, which very few do, that you have to be concerned about. And I am freaking it's going to get worse.
It is.
Which is why I just think there's going to be mass hysteria when the 2024 election happens. And I don't know what's going to happen. And that's why voter turnout has to be the highest it's ever been from a conservative standpoint or an independent standpoint for Donald Trump, or you're going to continue to get what you've gotten and this country will suffer. And I don't necessarily blame people, depending upon what the voter turnout is, if something nefarious like this is going on.
Correct. I think that's different than the local school board, how that's going to happen. I don't think that there was a lot of election fraud there. I think it was just bad planning on the conservative side. But I hate to agree with you on this, Vic, but I want to have hope. I want to think that Donald Trump is going to win. And if it was left up to just the Americans and it's left up to minorities and people of the white race, we would win. But they're going to do something big between now and November. It's going to be huge. And it's going to be, I don't know, something like, of course, what we're doing, this voter fraud that we're talking about that right now. But there is still a black swan event that we don't even know that might even halt the elections or change them, like the whole CVID thing did.
Death by 1,000 cuts. That's the black swan event.
That's right. And you know what that means. Death by 1,000 cuts.
But
that is what's going to happen and is happening. It's happening right now.
Whether it's the voting situation, whether it's signing up illegals, whether it's not taking care of the border, whether it's declaring Easter Transgender Day, whether it's taking God out of this country, this stuff continues to happen. And it frustrates the hell out of me. Did you realize something else that was brought to my attention? That on the American calendar, and this is why we try to dive deep and do the research all throughout the day and all throughout the night, and any support for our show, whatever you can do, we're grateful for it. There's 145 days on the calendar celebrating some sort of LGBTQ situation. 140 effing 5 days for LGBTQ.
Was it all declared under this administration?
No.
I was going to say they've been busy,
but most of it started with Obama.
Yeah, it all started with Obama,
and we already know who. And Obama is a gay man. I don't think it'd be very.
That's not even up for debate.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard from his lovers. His lovers have come out and told the stories. Obama has not sued or tried to stop those people, so he has not denied it. It's fine. Be who you are. If you're gay, fine. Be gay. Just be honest about it. But so we know how you're going to legislate when you're in office, as we have seen, and these things happen. Once again, if you're gay, that's fine. If you're gay, that's fine. Just don't lie about it, especially if you're running for office.
Correct.
145 freaking days designated for LGBTQ sorts of events. And I won't even break it down, but you can look it up.
Yeah, don't even break it down. I mean, they have a
140
whole month.
145 days. And these are the kind of things happening in America right now. Yes, you should be damn well concerned about it. And not only when it comes to bringing in people to, quote, sign up without a voter ID to go and vote, it's also the crime that's happening as well. We talk about Venezuela. We talk about squatting. We talk about weapons and drugs. And guess what? Here's a story from the Bronx in New York, which puts it all together. And if you don't think what's happening in New York and Chicago isn't coming, here it is. It's only a matter of time. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. I just get sad when I see these stories happen because I can only imagine. Here's one from the Bronx. Illegals, Venezuelans, drugs, guns, and squatting, all wrapped into one nice package for you. Thank you, Joe Biden.
That we just obtained when police sprung into action, hopping out of their squad cars after they got a call about a man with a gun. When they arrived, they chased 24-year-old Hector de Soso Villata, believed to be from Venezuela, into the basement of this Hull Avenue home. Another man, 22-year-old Javier Alborno, tried to get away with another gun before he was also arrested. Playing on your screen now are 4 of the 8 suspects that were under arrest being walked out one by one from police. When a search warrant was in place, investigators recovered 2 more loaded guns, 3 loaded extended magazines, a box of ammunition, and a bag of ketamine mixed with cocaine. Moments ago, we spoke with a neighbor just next door about the landlord and those uninvited guests that we just obtained.
Okay, once again, we try to be ahead of the story, and it was like, oh, it's just one time. Crime happens. And those are messages that we're hearing from media and liberal politicians in blue inner cities. It's happening. Tons of this coming out of Chicago, tons of it coming out of New York. And it's frustrating and sad. And it should be, quote, scary to you. This is not stopping.
No, it's going to keep going on. And like President Trump said, in Venezuela, their crime is going down while ours is going up. And it's an easy connection. It's because these Venezuelans are here and they're bold. They're just not going to hijack your car. They're coming to your home. I mean, be aware of that. And yes, it's great to have an alarm system, but they don't care about those. They don't care. They're animalistic.
From the chat line, we appreciate you guys jumping in as part of the live cast. You educate us. This is the People's Platform. We try to educate and entertain you at the same time. One big happy family. By the way, guys, illegals can get a TIN, a taxpayer identification number, similar to an EIN. If you don't know, you have an EIN tax number if you have an LLC or a business, as I do, and Lizzie has had as well. Employer identification number. That's what the EIN is. Now, this allows them to pay taxes when, in many cases, their income in predominantly cash on what they declare as income. Not the same as a Social Security number, but guess what? Ultimately, it's going to allow them to collect Social Security. And you can damn well believe they're going to be voting. It's all been a big plan. Oh, you guys are racist. You just don't want people to have a better way of life. You don't appreciate where you were born. What if you were born in Mexico? What if you were born in Venezuela? And then they don't even want to talk about the 200% increase in Chinese nationals moving in over the last 3 years. I mean, you're talking, the numbers are getting close to 30,000 now. It was 20,000 2 years ago, over 22,000, 23,000 last year. Why are Chinese nationals coming into the country illegally?
I think we know.
Once again, it all adds up. All of these things coming into play. Troy says, by the way, the Bible condemns being gay. Sorry, it's not fine. I'm not going to sit back and deal with that stuff there. These are numbers. These are real numbers. And that's why we continue to talk about them and show what's happening when it comes to these illegals coming into the country, doing what they're doing. When it comes from a business standpoint, election standpoint, voter ID standpoint, just be aware. Just be aware. You have to be persistent. You have to be patient. That's why you have to continue to talk about it. And it's one thing for our politicians, even conservatives, say, well, we need to do this and we need to do that. You know what we need, in quotes, we need the plans to be said, this is what I'm going to do. Any politician can say, and the consultants will say this, don't say that. It's not about where the consultants are telling you, speak the truth. Consultants don't tell you, speak the truth, speak the truth, speak the truth. I've been in some of these meetings. I know some consultants. It's all about money. It's about getting that paycheck in. How are we going to, quote, win? It's never about what's the message that's going to be best and that you're actually going to follow through on. It's like, it's the message that's going to sound the best, which is why you have to hold people accountable. Republicans, Democrats, Independents. I don't care who's winning elections. Don't just listen to somebody say, this is what we need to do. Force these politicians to say, this is what I'm going to do. And then they're on record. That's why they're told, don't say you're going to do this, because if you can't do it, then, oh, you'll look bad. But guess what? Anybody can say this is what we need to do. Do you ever hear politicians say, well, I'm going to try to do this?
No, they just say they're going to do it with no intent to do
Or
it.
they don't say that they're going to do it at all. I want to hear more politicians, Lizzie, say, I'm going to do this.
Yes, I'm going to do it, but then really
so then you're
it.
held accountable, because Donald Trump became a master at this.
Yes.
He said, I'm going to do this and do that. And guess what he did? This and that. He did it. That's why he's so popular. It's not because he's just this guy that gets everybody excited. It's because he actually did what he said he was going to do.
Correct.
He wasn't that, quote, typical politician. So politicians, if you're listening, and I know that we have politicians that listen to our show live and listen to us on the podcast as well, and in our library, tell us what you're going to do. Don't just tell us what needs to happen. When we ask you a question, please tell us what you're going to do if in that position. And explain the details, because I'm tired of all the extra groups, the policy makers behind the scenes. You guys already know who they are, and what they do, the lobbyists that control everything, the money that controls everything. Once again, listen very carefully to a politician's words. I was taught how to do this for 25 years in TV. Listen specifically to words, how they're used, and in what context, because they'll tell you, people in any say, well, and listen very closely to the word. Hell, even write it down. But this is what the problem with America is when it comes to the politics and everything else that's going on. Greg says, I have a relative that works in construction in Vegas. He told me that most non-residents get paid in gold or silver coin. It's untraceable, while legitimate American citizens are getting paid with a paycheck.
Yeah, I've heard that too, that they get paid with gold, or they just get paid with old-fashioned cash, so that they're not traceable and they don't have to pay taxes. And as Greg called them, the legits, like all of us, we're paying taxes out the wazoo.
Interesting comments as well. And I don't know where Matthew's going with this, but we try to get to the comments as much as we can and talk about real issues. That's what's called Cancel This. It's also possible to remain steadfast to one's religious beliefs and to treat people fairly and kindly. I have to stop right there after the first sentence. What do you mean it's possible?
Well,
that's how it's supposed to be,
right?
Matthew.
Correct. I think he was talking about, because they're having a whole debate on whether it's okay to be gay or not, and you said it was okay to be gay.
Listen, I said it's okay if that's what you choose to do.
Correct.
I'm not trying to stop you from being gay.
Right.
I'm not going to rip you for your choices, regardless of what my faith says about, quote, gayness or not, or transgender or not. I'm just saying, stay away from the kids. It's not okay to go after the kids from that standpoint.
Correct. And people are just so tired of identity politics, and that's what they're talking about on the chat line.
But we have to be careful when we use that word identity politics, because identity politics can also, it's almost like taking a shot at somebody's faith too, though.
That's true.
I mean, you got to be careful about the words that you use. It comes specifically as I'm talking about the exact words that are used. I mean, somebody could even say that's being a little passive aggressive, using the word identity politics. I would just like specific, because he says that's where I am. I treat everyone how I want to be treated. But guess what? Yeah, you're supposed to treat everybody how you want to be treated. But at the same point in time, that doesn't mean that you're supposed to, quote, be nice or, quote, kind and go against what your faith is about. It's about the messaging and how you say something, but it doesn't mean you go against what you know is right or wrong, or at least taught is right and wrong from a faith standpoint.
That's right. You can
just remember, Jesus was not killed because he was nice and kind to everybody. He was killed because he called people out.
Correct. You're right. A lot of people want to take Jesus now and put him in a little package of he loves everybody.
And I bring that up because of those commercials, which are a bunch of crap.
Yeah, those commercials are bad.
He gets us.
He gets us.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't matter. He shouldn't have to get us. We need to understand and get him. That's we
just want to have those good conversations around here that it's difficult to have with family members or dinner tables at workplaces, those sorts of things. Lori sums it up best. Hate the sin, love the sinner.
Amen.
Even
Amen.
Jesus was angry with the sellers in the temple. Yes. Once again, he called people out. He did it outside of that temple incident. He did it, according to scripture, in a a calm manner, but he called out the sin.
Yes.
And that's why he was crucified. Megan says character politics. Identity has now become another watered down term like racist.
That's so true.
That's my point. That's exactly what I was getting to. You have to be careful because we already know that people and devious ways will try to use words, spin words, and use them to come after you or to promote whatever agenda that they have for themselves. Matthew did say, I agree with that too. You're absolutely right. I think I would have articulated it better differently face to face. Yeah, it wasn't an attack on you. We just want to go after topics that we all need to talk about, help educate each other. All of us get better because we can all help each other. Iron sharpens iron, as we like to talk about. This whole situation, though, with the border, with the illegals coming in, what's happened with Donald Trump, all of these things are just, it's very sad. And then we had something else that's now happened. This is Cancel This, by the way, cancelthisshow.com, cancelthisshow.com. Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks, Pro Joe in the house. We haven't seen Joe today yet. Maybe one of these days we'll see Joe as he'll pop himself up so that everybody knows where he is. He has spoken a couple times without popping himself up. There he is. I just love to see your
There
chat,
he
too.
is. There he is.
It just shows how big the show is that we've got you like in another place as well, like running the show, which is awesome.
That's right.
Behind a whole wall and glass.
A whole glass, a wall, window, you name it. Donald Trump's dealing with a hush money case. The whole Stormy Daniels. Here's another just crazy deal. Michael Avenatti, the lawyer, the disgraced lawyer who's from St. Louis, the Parkway area. Anyway, he says that Trump's getting railroaded now, by the way. He's like, what they're trying to do to Trump is absolutely wrong. If you haven't seen what's happened in this case, you should. And it wouldn't be happening to Donald Trump if he wasn't running for president. Now, here's what's going on with this. He put this out yesterday. He said he was just informed that another corrupt New York judge, this is Juan Merchan, by the way, gagged him so that he cannot talk about the corruption and conflicts taking place in his courtroom with respect to a case that everyone, including the DA, felt should have never been brought. The DA actually said that. He's like, they're allowed to talk about me, put out messages about me, but I can't respond. He's like, doesn't sound fair, does it? He says, this judge should be recused and the case should be thrown out. There has virtually never been a more conflicted judge than this one, election interference at its worst. So Donald Trump put that out yesterday. Then we find out that Trump has filed a pre-motion letter seeking the recusal of the judge, arguing that the judge's daughter works for a company that supports Democratic causes and has benefited financially from the case. Now you're seeing the evidence that's being brought forward with the whole situation. Here's what's going on. His daughter is the president of a massive Democratic campaign operation. Go figure. National media is refusing to tell you this. She has taken millions of dollars from Democrats, including Adam Schiff and guess who? Kamala Harris. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. These are the kind of things, these are the kind of cases the Democrats have built against Donald Trump. Once again, we appreciate you guys being here to hear this. Like, subscribe, share the show, let people know what's going on. Literally, the avatar on her social media is Trump behind bars. And then, how about this? The judge's wife worked under New York Attorney General Letitia James. To make matters worse, and I loved when Benny broke this down, Benny Johnson, Judge Merchan weaponized the judicial system to silence Trump. Of course he did. So these things are happening. Once again, the judge's daughter, there's no conflict of interest here. Every single case brought against Donald Trump is one of corruption. It's one of lies. It's one of election interference over and over and over again. And we told you this was going to happen 9 months ago, and more is going to continue to be thrown out. All the cases and the time are running out.
Mhm.
They can't win. They can't beat
They can't
Donald.
win.
So now that's why you start to see the corruption in the House, the corruption in the Senate. We're going to get people to quit. We're going to get Republicans to quit. We're going to do everything we can to keep this man down. We're going to bring in illegals by the millions, sign them up with no ID to vote so that we can stay in power, so that Donald Trump's ideas of making America great again, his America First policy will never fall or will never continue to come back in here and fall into place. And everybody's starting to realize and wake up. America was so much better 3 years ago.
Sure was.
Almost 3.5 years ago. It's gotten worse. But guess what? This company, and this is where, I may upset some people. I may not. I don't care. We're just presenting the facts as we do. Judge Merchan's daughter's company, it's called Authentic HQ. Okay. They're working with, guess who? Taylor Swift.
Of course.
We'll bring it up.
It's so disappointing.
I know, but just think about this. Every time you support Taylor Swift, and I'm not saying she's mean or evil, and she is allowed to support whatever political candidate she wants. She has not publicly come out and said anything verbally that I'm aware of being a Democrat or supporting Democrats.
Not recently. She has in the past,
and that is a fact, and there's video of it.
Yes.
But her daughter's company, Judge Merchan's daughter's company, Authentic HQ, is working with Taylor Swift via vote.org. It's one of the clients of Authentic campaigns to get voters registered to vote for Democrats in 2024.
And that's and good for her, even though I don't agree with her.
So
that's
it's
what
not
Republicans need to be
but
doing.
it's not a conspiracy theory about Taylor Swift. It is
No.
a fact. There is evidence. Taylor Swift is working with the judge's daughter to promote
Wow.
Democrats.
Well, there again, Republicans, you better find big stars like that to do the same and to have vote.org for Republicans instead of fighting each other. That's all you're doing right now is fighting each other. You need to figure out a way to band together to get more votes instead of calling each other out all the time.
And Laura Loomer on Twitter, on X, has been doing a phenomenal job. She's arguably one of the best reporters in America. What she is accomplishing as a standalone person, getting news out. Even Donald Trump is using her expertise, her stories. She's absolutely amazing. One point in time, she was checking out our show. I saw her.
Laura Loomer or Laura
Yeah.
Logan?
Laura Loomer.
Laura, okay, very good.
We'll take either.
Either one of them. I like them both.
Laura Loomer, they're all my favorite. Megan says she is also dating someone that publicly promoted the cupcake. So no surprise here, guys.
Exactly.
Talking about Travis Kelce and showing his arm with the cupcake in it.
Yeah.
You can get a couple cupcakes, get yourself all up.
And that's fine if he wants to do that, but I'm not doing it just because he said
Cupcake
it.
up, baby.
Yeah, go take your cupcake today. Pump that all in your arm, people.
When will this insanity ever end from the chat line? Yeah, who knows?
I don't think in our lifetime it's going to end anymore.
Taylor had a long line of anti-Trump tweets in 2020 as well.
She did.
Kelly Mano's going to lose her mind over this story. Kelly joins us on Fridays. Social media star, influencer.
She's not going to lose her mind. She's not going to care about it one way or the other. She likes Taylor Swift, period, no matter how she votes.
And that's just, and by the way, just know who Taylor is. She's doing everything she can to promote Joe Biden. I don't, that's in this day and age with the stakes being so high.
Yeah. I wish we could go back to the days that you could like some sort of a star and not know their political persuasion. I just want to listen to some damn music and not know how they vote.
Yes.
I really do. Even conservative. I just want you to play the damn song and stop telling me who you're voting for.
You remember when voting booths had curtains?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, now it's a rite of passage to say, oh, I voted for Joe Biden as you're walking out of the booth. Before, nobody talked about it. And, and is that good? I don't know, because I think part of the things that hidden behind that cover is why we got to where we are today. So now the conservatives are coming out fighting, and I'm glad they're doing it, but they're fighting the wrong people often.
But how bad is this that the judge's daughter
That's not good.
is that much of an agent for the Democratic campaigns? His wife worked with New York Attorney General Letitia, and then he gags Trump because all this information started to come out on his daughter. And then as soon as this is where conservatives and podcast shows like ours, where we can get the word out, and you have people like Laura Loomer doing what she's been able to do and getting all of that investigative news out there, it changes court cases. This guy's like, he's running scared. I say running scared because they don't want their news out there. The daughter didn't want all that news to get out there. This is what takes money. When you have money to continue and promote the messages and get the media messages out to everybody and all the platforms, you can get your message out, but it takes money.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're just talking to a couple people. That's why you need the money. That's why it's such a huge deal to get out. And that's why Democrats have supported so much, even to small little podcast. These Democratic wings and their money, you know what they're doing? The DNC, they're shooting tons of money out to podcasts like ours on the other messages, on the other sides.
That's right. The other side puts money into their messaging, as you say that all the time. But the right and people on the chat line are saying it right now. People on the right, they don't fight hard enough. They don't support.
Well, then it can change. It's a matter of
it needs to change. It's actually pretty easy to do. You just have to change your mindset on it.
Yeah, I know a podcast.
I do too.
Anyway, yeah, I love it. I'm trying to get to all the chats. I appreciate everybody jumping in the podcast line. I just hate it. And I'm sick to my stomach of seeing what these judges are trying. And
Me too.
And there's still too much of America. Even Americans who vote for Trump, they're like, oh yeah, whatever, because they don't have time to actually dive into the case. And that's what we do. And that's what we do all day. And we'll continue to do that as long as people, want us here and support us. Only because he wants to be president of the United States, only because he wants to continue what America had going on. And we break down the facts all the time. It's not even a debate or a question anymore of how much America was better 3 years ago than what we are now.
That's right. There's no debate on that at all. And people that don't even want to see, they're starting to see. And we say this daily when they go to the store and they see the prices and they see the gas prices and millennials cannot buy a house. And you see people that are in your doctor's office speaking non-English languages, getting free health care, and you're not. I mean, people see this now. They absolutely see it. You want to put fertilizer on your lawn and now it's 4 times what it was before. I mean, everything is so much more expensive. So the average lay person who isn't even political now is starting to see it. They may not admit they're going to vote for Donald Trump. They may not even like Donald Trump, but they sure like their pocketbook and the old American values before that they're going to be voting for Donald Trump. It's absolutely going to happen. And so that's the only choice they have is to bring these illegals in because they've done everything else. They've done Russia. They're trying to indict him. They're taking his money and he's still liked. So the only thing, they have 2 things left. They have bringing all these illegals, but they've been doing this now for 5, 6, 7 years or more, just more on a subtle basis. And they're going to have the Black Swan event because that's the only way he loses. That's it.
As Michael Jordan once said, I'm trying to sell shoes. Why would I alienate half my customers?
That's right.
Chris says, I really wish celebrities would take that to heart.
That's right. Because they do. There's things that I won't buy now.
Or major celebrities.
Right.
I mean, listen, Taylor can do what she wants. I'm not going to pay anything for Taylor Swift.
Correct.
I don't have a problem with people that like Taylor Swift.
I don't have a problem with them either.
But just know and understand, but we're going to put the words out there.
We are going to
if
tell
you don't mind her promoting the Democratic Party, if you don't mind her supporting Joe Biden, then fine, do what you want to do. We're trying to be a beacon of hope, a light in the dark when it comes to truth and being able to have a platform to speak truth, not just opinions, but truth. And that's where we are when it comes to Republicans, when it comes to Democrats, when it comes to independents, the whole situation. We're not just going to sit back and go, okay, well, no, that doesn't fit with us. No, well, we got to worry about this. No. It's about truth. As we say before, you can't have anything unless you have truth. You have to have honesty first and truth. You have to, or you have no relationship whatsoever. This is cancelthisshow.com. Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks, Pro Joe in the house as well. You can always check out us. All of our inventory of shows, 2 hours of content every day, 10 hours a week. Approaching 350 episodes. We're grateful for you guys doing that. We're here every day. Of course, we're a podcast, but we're a live show every day as well. You can check all of that out on the website. We also have a merchandise platform as well. Plus, we have a donate button as well to back our freedom of speech and everything that we're trying to do. Troy wants to remind everybody, by the way, the Fed is also taking more taxes this year to support illegals because of what's happened. we can't support it all. Once again, this was a coordinated effort, and why Democrats refuse to condemn it and say, oh, well, we're only going to vote if we get all of our hundreds of millions of dollars for Ukraine. And then we still don't know if they would have really voted for it or not. That's a problem. And then, of course, that's going to fall at the heels of Mike Johnson to try to get something done, because we all know what's going on. There is a ray of hope. Look at this. Remember the video that we showed you over a week ago with the illegals assaulting police officers, running through the barricades, the fencing in El Paso in Texas? Then we brought the follow-up story on Monday where a federal liberal Democratic judge said he was going to let 200 of them go because the DA said, we need more time to put the cases together. He's like, you just don't do this 5 days later. And the judge says, well, if you can't do it, DA, I'm not going to give you time, and I'm just going to release all these illegals. Well, Texas is now defying a Biden administration order. Look what they're doing with this video. They're putting fencing back up. They're trying to do what they can. I don't think this was a made-for-TV event, but they're trying to put the fencing back up in a stronger, more durable way so that freaking more illegals can't come in. I just figured most of the illegal world was here already, but you can't just give up. You've got to have some sort of issue. You know what I do know for a fact? If all these illegals were coming in to vote for Trump, there'd be a wall about 20 feet high, 80 feet wide, that would have been constructed in record time.
Absolutely. And they would be thrown in with all the J6ers. That's exactly what would happen. These people are coming across the border and they're saying they love Joe Biden. So of course they're going to let him right on in. But that was a really good point you just made. They would not be allowed in. And if they did get in, they would be thrown in jail with the J6ers.
Yeah. Good morning to everybody. People who are jumping on the chat line as well. Once again, we love all the stories that you guys are bringing to us. Want to make sure that we're all caught up on everything that's happening as well. At least Texas is trying to do something. I mean, even if it's a video show, not sure you're going to see it anywhere nationally. Once again, we show it because it needs to be shown, and we're going to continue to show you those stories because it needs to start. I just don't know what the hell's going on when it comes to the Biden administration, because they can't rip everybody. At one point in time, they've gone after certain big people, but we realized you can't be afraid of being canceled. You have to continue to speak up, especially the big stars, the big people. And we know that Tucker Carlson puts on with TCN,
yes,
an amazing amount of just viable, outstanding content. And he gets great guests. And that's why the show works like it does, with lots of great producers and tons of good writing. And he's got the money to do it. Okay. With that being said, he had Brett Weinstein on the other day, and I don't know if anybody hasn't seen it. You need to check it out. His interview was terrific. But this is such a perfect example of what you can do. And we know what's happening at the border. We know what's happening with our economy. We know what's happening with illegals being allowed to run crazy in this country and being given free money. It's all by design. It's by plan. But as Tucker and Brett Weinstein talk about, maybe the elites, maybe the deep state, maybe the globalists underrated and overvalued themselves, but didn't think, maybe they planned wrongly against the strength of some people in America who are now standing up. This is our hope. This is the fact where you do have a voice. And I just felt this made me feel damn good, Lizzie, which is why I wanted to show this on the show. What it really puts into perspective, and of course, what happened in 2020 with CVID.
If people somehow put aside the obvious danger to their ability to earn and maybe to their lives of saying what needs to be said, then we greatly outnumber those we are pitted against. They are ferociously powerful, but I would also point out this interesting error. So I call the force that we're up against Goliath, just so I remember what the battle is. Goliath made a terrible mistake, and it made it most egregiously during COVID, which is it took all of the competent people took all of the courageous, and it shoved them out of the institutions where they were hanging on. And it created, in so doing, the dream team. Created every player you could possibly want on your team to fight some historic battle against a terrible evil. All of those people are now at least somewhat awake. They've now been picked on by the same enemy. And yeah, all right, we're outgunned. It has a tremendous amount of power, but we've got all of the people who know how to think. So I hate to say it, or maybe I like to say it, but I don't think it's a slam dunk, but I like our odds.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that is very positive statement. They
Can I-
overexposed themselves.
Can I say it, Joe? I got chills.
Yeah, he's got chills.
And I promised I'd stop whispering because Biden ruined that.
Yeah, Biden did kind of ruin the whisper.
Hey, I like to sniff kids. Leave me alone. Anyway,
Gosh.
yeah, I got chills.
That was really good stuff. And I mean, that was a good analogy with David and Goliath for sure, because the deep state is like this big Goliath, but they miscalculated a lot. And that's where my hope still is too, because it's so easy to say Donald Trump is going to lose because they're going to steal our election again, but they overplayed their hand. Now we know who they are. We know what they're going to do next.
Comments from the live cast from all of our platforms, which you can find at cancelthisshow.com. Good calls us to put his armor on every day. He says it will be hard, but be bold, fearless, and uncomfortable, and we will win. Also, when you have nothing to lose, you do what you need to do to survive.
Yes.
It puts you in a different state. We do greatly outnumber the deep state still. And of course, it can be a David versus Goliath. Terry says they call Trump David. I don't know who they is. Maybe
A lot of people do. A lot of people, especially people that understand what's going on from a spiritual battle, that Donald Trump is seen by many as the David in the story of David and Goliath playing out here right on earth. So, I mean, there's a lot of truth to that. And Trump, it isn't necessarily Trump is David. He represents all of us that are the David. And we need to remember that a lot of people are discouraged this morning about what happened with the school board elections, about what's going on with the border, but we still have power and we've got God on our side.
Also from the chat line, you have to understand what his statements mean. Talking about Brett Weinstein, revolution and chaos is kind of what he might be alluding to.
Mm-hmm.
Paul says that's what they want. And it's what we need before anything changes.
Correct.
And we have, and we
true.
have talked about, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how you stand up in the streets, but I think it's coming quicker rather than later, especially when it comes to what we see happening with the election. When you have
Correct.
over 2 million people who have been allowed to sign up to vote without any voter registration, without any voter ID, just in the states of Texas, Arizona, and Pennsylvania. Once again, we broke these numbers down earlier in the show. Over 2 million people without a voter ID have already been allowed to register to vote. And you know where they're going to vote, and you know what's going to happen with that. How many people are really going to believe what happens with the election? Because we know that the left has allowed this to happen. Left leaders, they're not the ones speaking out. Well, we're trying. They're trying to win elections. They're not trying to win. They're not really trying to win the day. They're trying to win your vote. But you got to win the day. And the only way you're going to know a true election candidate, somebody who's actually in it to win it for the right reasons, is when they're calling out the border and they're calling out what's happening in this country. These things are happening. Kathleen says, take citizens for self-government classes in every community. It will empower us. We cannot be victims.
Amen.
Robert says, selected in plain sight is what is happening.
Yes.
And a lot of things are in plain sight. It's just Americans have gotten so conditioned to not see what's right in front of our eyes. You almost have to be slapped in the face to see straight. As Langford Cunningham, who joined us yesterday, who starts his show tomorrow night through Renew Media Group, 6 to 7 p.m. He already has a massive show, massive following. He had to become blind before he could see straight.
Literally.
I mean, that quote is so powerful. things are happening by the day. That's why we do the show. That's how this show was born. It was born out of that, to speak truth in regards to what media will not tell you, to talk about maybe uncomfortable topics that media hasn't, and it's continued to grow. I just get back to that. When you have nothing else to lose, what will you do to survive? Will you go vote? Will you talk to your candidates? In some senses, I think it can help. In other senses, I feel like we're already on the track where we have to lose a lot before the majority of Americans are going to change their mind, their
Correct.
attitudes, their ways. Not be afraid to talk about these subjects that I've encouraged people to talk about on the show.
Mhm.
You do need to talk about faith. You do need to talk about politics, and you have to have a good ear ready to listen before you speak.
Correct. That's the key, is to get people who don't exactly think like you and just listen to where their heart is, and then talk to them in a persistent, polite manner, as you say, Vic. And these conversations can be had, and it wins people over gradually.
Donna says most illegals have to have at least an ID and a name to vote. No, they don't. Maybe in Missouri, not around the country.
Correct. Yeah, in the Midwest still, I think you do. But, I shouldn't even say Midwest, because if you go to Chicago, you can vote illegally if you're an illegal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's happening. Hello, everybody. These things are going on. It's happening. We continue to focus on that, and we will always do that here with cancelthisshow.com, which is why we try to cover what we can. We did want to show one. Robert says the golden rule: they who have the gold make the rules. Yeah, I mean, we always know history will be written by the winners. We know that as well. These are the sorts of things that happen over and over and over again that we're trying to focus on. We're bringing it out there for you. You guys do what you need to do to make your own decisions, your own ideas. But keep in mind, you have to trust where you're getting your sources from. Another woman who I've talked several times about, Sage Steele, former ESPN anchor, sued because of what was happening at ESPN with the whole cupcake and trying to force her to do something she didn't want to do. And then, of course, they suspended her because she called out Barack Obama for for calling himself black when his white mom raised him and dad wasn't there to help. And then she got suspended because she's like, Barack Obama is not black. He's biracial. I've talked about that story here. I'm biracial. I have a white parent and a black parent. I'm biracial. I'm not black. And to take one away would be very disrespectful. And of course, not only did Barack do that, he took away the white mom who raised him.
How disrespectful.
Yeah, it is. But once again, that's Barack Obama.
Correct.
But anyway, Sage Steele has even acknowledged publicly. Now she's doing some shows as well. More and more people are trying to come into the mix. She admits that when she did a Biden interview, it was completely scripted by her bosses at ESPN. She has come out and she has been able to admit this. Guys, you can't trust national media, which is why we do what we do. She says, quote, every single question was scripted and gone over dozens of times by multiple editors and executives. She said, Biden is a coward. And if you don't know who Sage Steele is, you can look her up, former ESPN anchor. And now she has been allowed, she's got the muzzle off. She's allowed to speak now. And anybody that's worked in media, as I have, your questions are gone over most of the time. We can't upset this. We can't. And I saw it happen a lot with city leaders in the city of St. Louis. Oh, well, we don't want to, which is why they stopped showing mugshots of people. That's racist. Well, most of them are black people. Well, it's racist. Really? We're not allowed to give description. You can't say black man anymore, or black woman, or white man. What? How are people? Then why give a description? Well, I don't know. We're just following the rules given to us. Thank you, Sage Steele, for being honest, because everywhere you look, you're going to be dealing with nonsense in this world, especially when it comes to the messaging, especially as we get closer to 2024, which is why, again, we bring up the facts that we do regarding Donald Trump, regarding the border, regarding inflation, regarding the media trying to make you think that this is something that you need to like, or this is something you need to vote for. Paul said they love showing Trump's mugshot.
They loved it. But it backfired on them. Trump made a shirt and everybody made a shirt and we all wore it and it was fun. So they keep doing things that then backfire. So then they try something else.
Well, it's because if you shoot at Donald Trump, it's bouncing back at you. It's what's happening.
Yeah.
Les said, I saw her interview with Dana White. I know she screwed up. She called him Joe Rogan. I know she messed up. Listen, I like her. I didn't say she was great. I have confidence in what I do and what Lizzie does. Yeah, she messed up. She messed up that one point. She did. She was interviewing Dana White and she accidentally called him Joe Rogan. I was like, oh no, Sage.
No. Oh
no. No. But that's not my point. My point is the political standpoints of what was done with the interviews. Yeah, people are just, more people are saying, I know. Listen,
and that's what they're focusing on, is that she said the wrong name instead of the content of what she was saying was really good about that.
It is. But don't listen to these freaking messages as we continue, which is why we're telling you all this, the lies and the stuff with the cases. And there's a reason why younger Black Americans are now turning to Donald Trump in a majority. And it's not the white people, me and Lizzie saying it. It's the Black people that are coming into our show telling us that's what's happening.
That's right.
We love it when you jump into the live cast as well. We're here 8 to 10, Monday through Friday. You can Central Time. You can catch all of our episodes, of course, on our website, canceltheshow.com. Also, if you jump in during the live show, we love it when you jump in with your comments as well. Let us know if you're a first timer as well. Lots of people coming in. We recognize some, we don't. Gary calls him Teflon Bulletproof Don. It's what's happened over and over and over again. We cover those stories and we're not going to stop doing that. And that's why you continue to see the ratings going up, the polling. If you weren't with us in the beginning of the show, we told you 6 swing states right now, according to the Wall Street Journal. Donald Trump leads in 5 of them. And the only state he's tied in at 46% each is Wisconsin. And this is the Wall Street Journal, by the way, which is no longer some conservative publication. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to tell you, it's not.
No.
So I guarantee, and Donald Trump's lead has increased in those swing states as well. But once again, these swing states do not include illegals who have just been signed up without any voter ID. So now anytime that I look at polling, I can't take it seriously because of this. And if anybody sees any national networks or local networks ever talking about these facts or bringing these facts forward, please let me know, because I don't think you're going to see it. Because I think if most Americans saw this, most Americans would be pissed off. Most Americans would have an issue with this and try to call it out and try to go and do. That's where the deep dives on who, and it would be such a massive undertaking to find out who these people are. And once again, when voter recounts happen, all they're doing is checking to see if the numbers come out the same. They're not checking to see if these are actual legitimate legal citizens who are registered. I repeat, legally registered to vote. That's how you check and do that. They're not checking and throwing votes out if these are illegal people or deceased people voting. And by the way, I don't know. I know the Timcast had some sort of news on Missouri now taking votes from deceased people. I don't know. I haven't heard any of that. We're going to continue to try to get news on that coming up. We just don't have any of that, if that has actually come out or not. But be careful of all the side stories, the P. Diddy side stories. I mean, who knows? We've talked about it and we have some video we'll show you a little bit later in the show as well. But be careful of all the side stories and the things that are going on. Be real. Follow what's going on. Find your platform. Do your own research. Do your study as much as you possibly can to see what's out there, because you just don't know what's going to happen. But when you see people like Sage Steele now talking publicly about what's happened, about what's been going on, then it gives you an idea. It's like, okay, all this stuff is coordinated. The whole event is coordinated. Everything is coordinated right now. It's not by chance, all of this stuff, which is why we're not trying to scare you. But man, oh man, oh man, I do think we're going to see something by 2024 election, or we're going to see something before. And God, we pray nothing happens to us again like we had in 2020. Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think we had our fair share of that, didn't we?
Oh, we definitely had.
I mean, it's still affecting us. I mean, hell, we told you yesterday, you still have restaurants trying to add a CVID fee to their bills.
Yeah.
I'd still like to know what state that Sebastian, the comedian, did that in. I have a feeling it was New York. I can't guarantee it, but I have a feeling something happened with that.
Yeah.
By the way, I wanted to give this out there too. We already know about cancelization. When it came to the platform X, Elon's site, we know that they tried to cancel him with donors and supporters and advertisers pulling out. We remember that, right? Because how dare Elon speak up for what's going on in America, what's going on across the world? How dare him speak up for the dirty scandals that were created by the elites to try to keep Donald Trump from being in office? Well, he has reported that traffic on X has now reached an all-time high.
That's beautiful. Beautiful.
It's also a massive place of support for our show, canceltheshow.com. And we are grateful that we have gotten onto that platform, and we'll promote X as much as we possibly can because of the free speech that's allowed to be there.
Well, and it just makes me smile because the left definitely thought Elon was their poster boy. And then it comes to find out he said he would never vote Democrat again. And he's opened up such a great platform in Twitter X that you can go on there as a conservative now. And in most cases, that becomes your biggest platform because you're not censored there at all. So the joke was on the left with Elon.
So far. And
so far.
Yeah. And obviously we're on that platform. We'll be going to other platforms as well. And that's what we do with the show. We continue to promote what we can. We continue to bring the news, as we talked about Donald Trump yesterday. He'll seal the border. He's going to have to deport as many people as he can. People wake up if you haven't yet. There's a reason why crime has dropped almost 70% in Venezuela and ours has gone up. There's a reason Americans are being killed by illegals all throughout the country, not only Missouri, but across the country. It's because illegals are coming here. And I'm sorry, it doesn't mean all of them, but there are illegals here with bad intentions.
True.
And when you and then of course, we all know the voting, which we have broken down. And we are more powerful than what we think we can be, which is why you have to educate yourself, get involved. And once again, we're here 8 to 10 a.m. Central every day. We bring the news to you. You bring it to us. We do what we can. It's not about ruining your day. It's about just being more educated, learning about things that you're not going to learn anywhere else, because that's our goal. That's our mission, what we do on a daily basis to try to make things happening. Elon was our entertainment during the lockdown, according to Jeannie. And we appreciate your comments that we try to get to every day. And we appreciate all the support that you are giving us as well, because there's nothing like having a platform where you're allowed to speak truth. And we already know, because we talked to Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey yesterday. And by the way, if you haven't seen that interview, go out and check out yesterday's show. Just look back at yesterday's show. We had Missouri's Attorney General on about 30 minutes into the show. He did some other big shows yesterday. He did Crowder right after he did us.
Did he really? I did not know that.
So I'm grateful for the Attorney General jumping in and doing, he gave us about 20 minutes yesterday. And he also did Crowder's show, another national show, and he did another show on top of it as well.
Nice.
So Andrew, but check out his interview yesterday as he breaks down what's happening from a national standpoint. 3-0. I repeat, Andrew Bailey in the state of Missouri is 3-0 against the Biden administration. We tell you these stories because they're signs of hope. And there's not another attorney general in America right now who's making more news, who's doing more than Andrew Bailey. I mean, think about that. The guy hasn't even been in office that long, and he's 3-0. And the point of his lawsuit against Media Matters, which we know in Missouri versus Biden, is for your free speech. These are free speech issues, which you've got to continue to go out and find your platforms to speak, which brings us into the mix of us talking about Elon and X being such a great platform. And all the platforms we're on, we're grateful to be on. We just wish we didn't have to have certain language on some of the platforms. And we know that because we have to speak differently and use stupid words, cupcake.
That's right.
Shadow band, chivermectin. I don't know. We actually wrote a list out one day and I was like, my God, what the hell are we doing? We're cancel this. So it's good to have platforms, and we're trying to do everything that we possibly can. Joe, do you sent me something, or was that you, Lizzie?
No, you were talking about,
and I want to see you. I love to
sorry.
see you when you talk.
Well, you were talking about how how we are, we cover all bases and everything. Well, Renew Media as a whole, I mean, with Showdown, and now we've got Blind City. I mean, it's a pretty diverse, and you get all sides, all angles.
Yeah, we allow Showdown on. It's a hardcore progressive left show that comes out of our studio so that people can understand right from wrong.
That's exactly right. Because we think this show 100% is right, and we think the other show is 100% wrong. But Blind City isn't that much far off.
Blind City podcast, an independent black man.
Correct. He's an independent
who will be voting for Donald Trump. And I called him out on it.
You called him out.
Even though, because once again, if you're going to speak truth. Give your answers. That's what Lizzie and I do. That's what Projo do. Whether you like it or not, we're going to come. Hell, I love that you had to go after the far right today, Lizzie.
I did have to go after the far right, and I will get
legit.
Vilified.
We're going to be honest,
and I will get vilified for it because, and
if
I
you
do
get vilified. Tell me. We need to do that. Mean tweets.
Yeah, mean tweets.
We can have you read your mean tweets.
I could read my mean tweets. I do. When I ever go off the very far right, the vitriol I will get later on this afternoon, but it's the truth. It's not that I'm making this stuff up. I love conservatives, but the far right, and I shouldn't even call them far right. They're just really uninformed, and they really don't have any insight to how things work. So if you see a circle like this, and I say it before, the far left and the far right meet in the middle, and they don't make any sense, and they hurt the conservative party. Both do. And so I will get vitriol later about how I'm not a real conservative and I'm really a rhino and all those things. And that's where they lose credibility, and that's where we lose election, when they call true conservatives rhinos.
From the chat line, which we love when you guys jump in. Vic Faust here, Lizzie Sparks, Projo in the House, canceltheshow.com, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, but you can check out all the website information at canceltheshow.com. We're approaching 350 episodes. We're here 2 hours every day, Monday through Friday, bringing you that content that we love. A.G. Bailey for Trump's VP. That's not happening this time, but I'm just saying, as good as Eric Schmidt was, now U.S. Senator, as good as he was as Attorney General, Andrew Bailey might be doing a little more. Now, I know he piggybacked, to be fair, on what Eric Schmidt started, but those are still big shoes to fill. Think about when Eric Schmidt was, and now Eric Schmidt is making news as a national senator.
Yes.
Almost as much as Josh Hawley. These are people from the state of Missouri who are kicking ass on the national, or at least as much as they can. Andrew Bailey will be going places. He will.
Absolutely.
I know Missouri doesn't want to see that, but I promise you, there are other people in the pipeline as well.
That's right.
I get frustrated with this damn state that's all red and Republicans fighting Republicans in the state of Missouri.
Me too.
Which shouldn't be happening, but there are a lot of great people here. That's for sure.
A lot of great people.
Somebody said governor, maybe at some point in time he could be. We'll have to wait and see where all of that goes. Somebody says the showdown is interesting, twisted show, but interesting to see the other side.
I agree with that.
We always say, listen, you have to listen to the other side, talk politics, talk religion. We say all the things that everybody and your parents have told you shouldn't do, because that's the only way you're going to learn to listen. That's the only way we can have anybody sort of try to come together and listen. Now, that's the first point. Now, a lot of times it just stops there, because if you listen and don't do anything, then nothing happens. But maybe listening can bring us somewhat closer together. We're not about division and pushing people together and let's fight in war. We're just talking about what.
Well, that's what they want. That's what the uniparty wants. A lot of people say division is a good thing. It is not. Divided we fall. And so, but the majority of the people are not really that divided. There's probably 60% of us in the middle, most of us being conservative, but even a few Democrats. We just want America to get better. It's the very far right and the very far left love division. They think they're right, but they don't know how to debate, and they don't know how to get anything done. And division is great if you don't want to hang around somebody because they're annoying to you and they cause chaos in your life. But as a general rule, divided we fall in America. And that's what's happening. We're so divided.
Just once again, when you see messages, look at the fruit people produce when it comes to politics, when it comes to friends, family, whatever. It's one thing to say something. It's another thing to do it, but you'll be able to tell who people are. I take, Laken Riley, her name should be continued to be talked about. The nursing student from the state of Georgia who was brutally murdered by an illegal. You know how that horrible State of the Union speech that Biden gave, his proof of life speech, so to speak, yelling, screaming, "I'm still here," pronouncing her name wrong. You've got literally a Democratic senator who hasn't posted about it one time, but posted 23 times about George Floyd. 23 times. And this guy is battling right now to try to stay in office. Yet he talked all about George Floyd. Once again, notice how people use race, how they use certain things to try to get your attention. Just be careful. Keep your eyes open, which is what we try to do over and over and over again with everything that we possibly can. Chris says, Lizzie, true conservatives aren't being called rhinos. It's those Republicans that are willing to compromise just to get scraps that people are being called that. When you have the majority, all your agendas should be going through.
I
And
agree
that
with
doesn't
that only
happen.
to a certain extent. I agree with that on the larger scale, but all the stuff going on the local scale, good legislators are be calling rhinos, and that's why we're losing the muni elections and why we're losing school boards and all that, because there is a big battle there that too many conservatives are being called rhinos that they aren't. Just because you don't agree with somebody on one topic doesn't mean you're throwing scraps. It's meaning you're wanting the bigger picture done. And that's where so many people don't understand and don't have the insight. And that's why conservatives are where we're at.
Looking ahead at a couple things that are going on before we get into some other good news, before we get out of here today. I don't know what's happening here, but real Patrick Webb reported yesterday, the U.S. military has started recalling veteran retirees and is ordering them to report for active duty, citing Executive Order 13223. This from the Bush administration back in 2001. I don't know what this means. I don't know why. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm not trying to freak anybody out. I'm trying to find out what the hell is going on. We cover a lot of stories. We do homework 24/7. We literally do. You should look at our text messages. This is one thing that I had just saw that had come out this morning when it came back to that. Why would we be doing that? We have had people on the show, John Rourke, of course, Operation Cleanup, takes care of the border, cleans up all the trash after the illegals dump and act like freaking animals at the border. And I'm sorry, I'm calling them out for what they do because we have seen what they leave at the border, including leaving their own pets. I mean, and don't get us started on our pets and our dogs here because we love them. Don't you dare leave your trash and just, well, whatever, we'll leave our dogs.
And they leave their dogs
running around uncared for.
Terrible.
Those are the things that are happening. Why? So he has told us about numbers being down. Who wants to join a woke liberal military that's not promoting what it always has done, promoting transgenderism? Literally, transgenderism has nothing to do with the military. Woke has nothing to do with the military. So now the U.S. military has started recalling veteran retirees. Is it because something's going on? Is it just because we're so low? Serious situations to debate, serious topics to talk about. I don't know what's happening with this, but we'll certainly keep you posted on it. We try to get ahead of things. We try to make sure that we'll, cover it when it's there. So if anybody finds that or finds information, let us know. Les says, didn't Secretary of Defense Austin, say that he wouldn't take any military that got booted out for refusing the CVID back? I don't know. I didn't hear him say that. I have no idea. Landon says, but has Pedo Joe called back all those that refused? Yeah, exactly. Interesting. Jason says, yep, up to age 70 and even disabled veterans are being called back in. I don't know why. Once again, I just saw it come down this morning. We'll try to find out why, what the hell's happening from that standpoint, but it is news that needs to be talked about. Interesting story here. I think it's more of a positive standpoint, and it certainly leads into what's coming up Friday night. We talked about Caitlin Clark and what she did with Iowa, and Iowa, of course, beating the hell out of LSU the other night, and it was a terrific game. Everything Caitlin's done. I knew the ratings would be high. I didn't know they'd be this high for an Elite Eight game, but now Caitlin Clark and Iowa versus LSU is now the most watched women's college basketball game of all time.
That's awesome.
12.3 million people. That was averaging about 12.3 million people. That from the game, Monday night, most watched college basketball game ever. And there's a reason. And I know lots of girls are playing. You want to give credit, but lots of girls have been playing for a long time and not had the ratings. It's because of that young woman, Caitlin Clark.
100%.
And the thing I love about her, she's down the middle.
Mhm.
You don't know if she's conservative or liberal. She's not putting out a message.
I love that.
She's not putting out a woke message. She has not been bought and paid for anything woke. She showed the utmost respect for a opponent, Angel Reese of LSU, who totally disrespected her during the national championship game last year, showing her a ring in her face. And we talked about that yesterday. And it wasn't that Angel Reese did it once. Angel Reese followed her around for multiple minutes, just showing it in her face.
Yeah. Bad class.
Caitlin Clark could have responded in a negative way that she didn't know. She's like, it's just competition. It's all good. She decided to be friends. It's a life lesson for all of us, because I would not have been as good as Caitlin.
Well, and Caitlin, she's so humble. And I love how she handled that. And if you can handle things when people keep poking the bear at you and you can still stay above that, that is a beautiful thing. And she does. She stays above the fray of the nonsense and just plays the game. And she's so dang good.
But the story could get even better. Friday night, they take on UConn, the school that she wanted to go to. And arguably one of the best college basketball coaches of all time, if he's not the best, Gino Auriemma, refused to even go to her practices or event. And she was a highly rated star. He chose another girl, Paige Buchers, instead. Now, I'm not making this a sports show, but hang with me on this for a second. So he chose another girl. And now she's a damn good player. She's not as good as Caitlin Clark, but she's good. So Caitlin, once again, has nothing but respect to talk about when it comes to UConn. That may be even higher than the LSU Friday night.
Yeah, I agree.
If they get a national championship game between undefeated South Carolina and Dawn Staley, who has been all about the BLM movement. And I'll be honest, I don't know what's going on there, but whatever. They're undefeated. And they've got a ton more talent. LSU had more talent, but they didn't have the best player.
Correct.
That could be the largest, that game could draw more viewers than any men's game this year, maybe the championship. That's to show what Caitlin Clark has done. And she has stayed quiet. She has stayed humble, and it's a sign for all of us. And she's just so many things in the story that she could be angry about and go after people, which is why I bring this up, but she hasn't. She's focused on her teammates. Hell, I think she tries to get her teammates involved too much.
Right. She tries to give them the
You
benefit
do it
of
every
the
time,
doubt.
Caitlin.
That's right. That's right.
But the other part of this story is we showed you the video yesterday. They were on the court for the national anthem. And LSU wasn't.
No, they weren't.
Well, the LSU governor signed in. Of course, Kim Mulkey, the head coach, said, well, we're never out. You know, she shook it off. Well, we're never out for the national anthem, which I think is a terrible. This isn't pro. This is college. These are college students.
That's right. And they don't.
And I'm not talking about money
that.
being paid. I'm talking about it's college. The governor came out from LSU and said, we're going to look into this. They may put a bill forward that if you don't have your team out, that the coach and or the students could lose scholarships and or money.
Wow.
Not showing respect to the United States of America because you're not a pro athlete. And once again, I'm not talking about money. You're still at a college. You're still at a university. I was like, damn.
I'm glad somebody had the balls to say that.
And Kim Mulkey is a legend in LSU because she won the national title last year. You win national titles in Bayou country, you write your ticket for life. And she did. And they came from nowhere last year because she is a wonderful coach. But for Kim Mulkey, and Kim Mulkey is somebody who also called out CVID and called out cupcakes and to be so just aloof. Oh yeah, well, we're not out there. And I still don't believe it. To allow your team to tell you, and I guarantee the only reason her team is not out there is because her team told her, we don't want to be out there.
Well, and I think so too. I said that yesterday
because of
that
race
she was
issues.
avoiding a conflict that could have been coming. She knew that some of her players may kneel or they may turn their backs or not come out. So she did that on purpose. And then she could say, oh, I'm never out there. I'm so focused on basketball and that's why I'm not out there. She did that on purpose because she knew there was some trouble brewing on her team. Sure of that. And as a coach, you don't want your team to look like a bunch of Black Lives Matters people. They saw how that went, but she blew it there. She blew it.
Well, Jeff Landry is the governor for LSU, and now he's calling for their players to have their scholarships stripped for missing the national anthem. Now, a lot would have to take place. It seems severe. You give people a chance. You put a law or a rule in place. If you come to to LSU, you're going to stand on a court. Now, might it make it difficult for recruiting with some young women who might be all wrapped up in a BLM and hate this country? Maybe, but have some principle. Have some principle about what is going on. His tweet was this. He said, my mother, this is the governor of LSU going after Kim Mulkey
Wow.
and these LSU basketball players. My mother coached women's high school basketball during the height of desegregation. No one has a greater respect for the sport and for Coach Mulkey. However, above respect for the game is a deeper respect for those that serve to protect us and unite us under one flag. It is time that all college boards, including Regent, put a policy in place that student athletes be present for the national anthem or risk their athletic scholarship. This is a matter of respect that all collegiate coaches should instill. And I couldn't agree any more with what the governor is doing, because this is about our country. It's about the red, white, and blue. And if you got a problem with the flag, then go move somewhere else. Go play basketball in Russia. Ask Brittany Griner how that went.
That's right.
Brittany Griner came back a changed woman, whether you like it or not. Standing, respecting the flag.
Yes.
Which is why I'm grateful. I'm not trying to make too much of a deal about it. I'm just grateful that the governor of LSU, and we wouldn't even be talking about the story again unless the LSU governor didn't come out and say something. So thank God for Jeff Landry saying something. And I can promise you this much: Iowa and UConn Friday night will both be on the court for the national anthem. And it was a shame that Kim Mulkey allowed this to happen with her girls. Paul says these woke players act like they hate this system or our country, but they're always reaping the benefits. And I'm not trying to rip a young girl. The LSU star, Angel Reese, after the game, she said, well, I'm hated. I'm sexualized. Life is horrible and it's bad. And she's gained about $1.5 million from NIL in the last year. And she also did very seductive sexual layout pictures as well and made money for those. And after refusing to be on the court for the national anthem, was complaining about being sexualized and having death threats and talking about how horrible life is since she won the national championship. Maybe athletes and young kids need to learn that money and fame does not bring happiness. But at the same point in time, you can't take it all and then say, oh, life's just horrible. But for younger people, we get a pass. I'm older. I've made a lot of mistakes as well. Chris says, what got me was a Hall of Fame player said he finally gives some respect to a white girl beating a bunch of black girls. Guess what race he was? Yeah, he was black. But of course that's going to happen. You also had another former black NBA player, WNBA player, giving wrong stats about Caitlin Clark, saying, well, she had so many more games to break the scoring record. And then when she found out she was wrong, she didn't correct herself.
Correct.
So anyway, we don't need to make it a race issue because there's plenty of African-Americans who support Caitlin Clark. Caitlin says she's friends with Angel Reese. This was a story about what happened in regards to the governor actually coming out. And I don't remember a governor this is unprecedented. Will it happen? I don't know. But at least he's trying to put it out on the table for people to talk about. I mean, you can't talk about it unless it's put out there first, right?
Right.
I mean,
yeah. Yeah. And often these girls that they're on teams and sporting events, they'll get mad and they will, smack talk and all of that. And then the next day they're fine. So sometimes people make a bigger dish.
Same with guys though, too.
Mm-hmm.
If Reese won, she would have never been talking about the victim card or a possible injury. Yeah, I get it. It happens. Oh, well. That's all right. It is. But I wanted to end that on more of a positive note because what Caitlin Clark has done for college women's basketball, the most popular player of all time and the best player of all time, is nothing short of amazing to get guys who love sports. And I'm sorry, I could not sit and watch women's basketball unless I had a daughter playing or it was
correct
school.
I don't disagree.
The game was not that in it. It's I just hope that we have more Caitlin Clarks that come along, and it doesn't matter the color of your skin. It's the content of their play, the quality of their play, and the quality of their character. And I just hope that we get that because I find myself wanting to watch these games with Caitlin
Mhm.
Clark more so than any of the men's games.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Right now, I'm not a huge,
Way to go,
NBA
women's
fan,
college basketball.
but she's fun to watch.
No doubt about that. Joe, did we miss anything else? We've covered so much. This is the fastest 2 hours in podcasting. We had like 30 things. We got to it all.
We only missed one thing. I mean, it was the video about what happened to P. Diddy's kids. I don't know if you want to play that tomorrow. I mean, that was kind of interesting.
Let's go ahead and play it.
Yeah,
What
I mean,
happened? I'm sorry. Thank you. I forgot about it.
And I know that it's a lot of people feel that that's a distraction and P. Diddy's going to get off, but there was some good video of military style efforts that happened.
Does this have video too?
Yeah.
I mean, does it have sound?
Yeah.
We'll play it and we'll see. Yeah, we saw the raid going in.
Mhm.
This was from P. And I'm glad that this got posted.
Yeah.
Guns drawn. That's
Mhm.
what I don't get. Why do they always have to have guns drawn?
But they do, I guess, because they're
With P. Diddy though?
Mhm. That's how they come in. I think
Yeah,
told you
you're
when
right.
somebody came to my house,
is.
they came guns drawn.
It is. I know. I know members of the ATF, just when you don't think something will happen, it happens.
Mhm.
And you have to protect yourself. But those are his kids.
They
Those
had
are his kids.
drones flying around. That's so
Correct,
weird.
correct. But you know what? That is not necessarily uncommon. That does not necessarily mean that he's guilty. He probably is. He probably is involved with sex trafficking and all of that. But I told you about the time they came to my house with guns drawn and all that, and we were basically wrong situation. And my kids saw guns in their face. That same sort of an effort. They didn't lay a hand on my kids or anything, and they eventually left. But that's what they do if they think that there's some sort of a big issue come. It's scary. Look at that.
Damn. I know. I guess, I guess that's what happens. I mean, you know what though? I've seen people some of that video, they're backing out thing. They did arrest people for guns in the house.
They
though.
did. They did.
I don't know. Maybe that had something to do with what happened. I mean, it's easy for us to be, the Monday morning quarterback, armchair quarter. Oh, well, you should have done this. You should have done that. You don't know what it's like to be
right.
a first responder, ATF, FBI agent going into some of those situations.
Correct. I'm actually not judging them at all. And that's how Jeannie said, that's how it works. If you are accused of sex trafficking, any sort of abuse, any of that, they come with several jurisdictions to your door. And so if you do not act like an ass, they're not going to do anything to you.
Yeah.
So,
well, we do everything that we possibly can. Guys, thanks for the huge support. Our words getting out there, our names getting out there, our work is getting out there. And it's because of you guys liking, subscribing, sharing the shows, doing everything that you can. We appreciate it. Bring us stories. Let us know. Vic at canceltheshow.com, Lizzie at canceltheshow.com. If you have story ideas, guests, let us know. If you know of advertisers, sponsors, people who would donate, let us know. We are trying to get the word out as much as we can. We appreciate the podcasts that are out there that we give credit to, where we get information from as well. And of course, we're doing our best when it comes to promoting everything that we possibly can. We're here Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, and all the time on our website, canceltheshow.com. And of course, you can check out all of our original content there, all of the shows. And once again, if you didn't get a chance to see our interview with Andrew Bailey, Missouri's Attorney General, who went and did, he's been making the rounds nationally from his podcast. And of course, we're from the Show Me State. So he dropped by our show yesterday. So we appreciate him making time for us, about 20 minutes, 25 minutes of just really good content. That's from yesterday's show as well. It's right there in our library. So if you think we can do anything better, let us know as well. And of course, we're always open. Keep an open mind. Is that everything?
Yeah.
Damn, my jaw's tired.
Yeah, it has to be, because you just were going on and on and on.
And I promise you, we come at 8 to 10, but we do our pre-show at 7:50. We're trying to figure out music. If anybody has any music or rights to any music that you think would be great for the show, send it to us. I don't know. Maybe we'll do some sort of competition. Maybe we'll.
Yeah, let's do it.
Why don't we focus on some local bands and, I don't know.
That'd be good too.
Some
Maybe.
local artists, we'll say.
Yeah, but I've been told there's no good local artists, are there?
Oh,
I'm messing with you.
Okay. I was going to say, I think I could find a few.
We got a lot of really good local artists. All right. We appreciate it, guys. Thanks again. We'll close out the show. We'll see you again back here tomorrow. For Pro Joe and Lizzie Sparks, I'm Vic Faust. That does it for Cancel This, the fastest 2 hours in podcasting. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.